And I think it's generally my journey from being at rock bottom and climbing to.
So welcome to the show, Uncommony.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Good to be
So
here.
no, I've been looking forward to this. So what was the event that made you want to start a self-improvement YouTube channel?
It's something that I've been looking into for quite a bit of time, to be honest, but I never acted on it. And I think it's generally my journey from being at rock bottom and climbing to where I am now is ultimately what made me start. And I think the journey from being stuck in like growing up without parents and then getting onto a stage where I turned 32 and looking back at my life, it was like I had nothing and I was at rock bottom. I was in debt. I was depressed. I hadn't met my wife by that stage, and I thought this is not a great place to be in. So then climbing to going back to college and then climbing on a corporate ladder and getting to over 6K, six figures a year. I thought the rise was, it took me quite a bit of time, but I thought the rise was amazing. And it's something that I continually strive for success and development. And even like, the weight loss plan and the healthy lifestyle. Just the whole journey in itself has just made me want to share. It's almost like, without sounding like a messiah complex, it's almost like seeing the light and just wanting to share with everyone. So that was the main reason.
I wonder, before we get into the actual channel itself, you mentioned about hitting rock bottom, and I kind of want to start from there. What was rock bottom for you?
Oh, it was basically years and years and years of neglect, years of negative thinking. I grew up in a rough area. I grew up in Stonebridge, and to be honest, growing up without parents, growing up in Stonebridge where I turned to the streets because I didn't have the guidance, I didn't have the role models. So my role models were gangsters and drug dealers and so on. So from the age of 16 to about 32, I was pretty much lost. So when I say rock bottom, it was just years of neglect and years of negative thinking, but also not having the guidance. And I dropped out of school. I had a chance at college. I dropped out of that. And basically it was just years and years and years of a negative mindset and a negative outlook on life. And then obviously being addicted to gaming and smoking weed every day and cigarettes and eating Haribos and KFC and McDonald's for lunch and breakfast and dinner. And it was just a terrible state of affairs. And the thing is, it was daily. There was no break from it. But being in, I always say this, being in the driver's seat, you don't actually see what's wrong, because back then I looked at my life and yes, I wasn't happy looking in the mirror, but generally in my surroundings, I didn't think anything was wrong. I was looking forward to gaming with friends on a daily basis. And it got to a point where I was literally like, I was stuck on minimum wage. So I'd literally get paid. And the second, third day after getting paid, I was broke again. So I'd have to go to the corner shop and ask the people working there for, just for stuff to last me until the end of the month. And I'd go back the week after and the week after that. So it was just a never ending cycle. And I was always in debt and always, even drug dealers, I was getting stuff that I couldn't afford. So being stuck at rock bottom was really, really difficult. And like I said, it was just years of neglect and being addicted to burying myself in gaming was my escape from reality. And Yeah, it was really tough.
How come you put up with that for 16 years, if you don't mind me asking? Because that's a long time.
It is. And like I said, I couldn't see what was actually wrong. I couldn't see that it was actually wrong, you know, because I turned to the streets. I was, you know, I was involved in a bit of, you know, a bit of the gang life and selling drugs and so on. And being in that environment, I guess you almost become institutionalized where you can't see what's wrong. And you're familiar with you're comfortable with it, and that's just your surroundings, so you can't really see what's actually wrong. And I guess that was the main issue, is keeping up with it for so long was just, I guess, not having the guidance was a big factor as well. So I grew up without parents, and you know, not having that guidance, and not and to be honest, the role models I have, and even, it's not a popular opinion, but even like listening to hip hop and watching all these movies that glorify the whole gangster lifestyle and the whole drug dealer lifestyle, it's poisonous, to be honest. And that's what kept me in that mindset and in that lifestyle for so long, was just my negative outlook on life. And also, when you go to these areas and when you look at these areas, all my friends and everyone, it's quite sad, and it's people don't see it, but the whole gangster lifestyle and the whole, you know, hip hop drug dealing lifestyle, it's almost looked upon as something to be proud of, and you're a big man and you're a man and no, this is low. I look at it now and I realize how low it is and how much of a hindrance it is to your outlook on life and to your growth and development.
Would you say it's a bit prestigious in some regard? Because like you said, with the films, the TV, the way it's portrayed is kind of advertised as kind of this a lifestyle you want to aspire for. You say that's fair?
I'd say it's definitely glorified. It's high, like the amount of, and I think they play on it, right? Because youngsters, they're, you know, the whole Grand Theft Auto and the whole, you know, top boy lifestyle, it's glorified, but they don't realize how low it is and how much of a hindrance. And to be honest, it's not a great lifestyle to be around. Like, I grew up trying to be a gangster rapper, so I built a studio in my flat. And the daily, you know, having girls around, having, you know, the bottles of alcohol and the weed and the drugs and the rubbish food, it's nothing to be proud of. But these guys walk around with their chest up, and you know that it's a low frequency, low mentality lifestyle that, and it's definitely played upon from social media, mainstream media. And I say this in one of my videos, you know, it's almost like, you know, even AI and social media, it's like the glorification of all this. It's furthering technology, furthering that kind of lifestyle, but reversing humanity. And it's a shame, to be honest.
Sounds like a paradox, doesn't it? We've got all this technological advancement, but on a evolutionary side of things, we're literally de-evolving.
And that's the scary thought of it, because, you know, something as simple as using autocorrect on your spelling, sometimes now it's to the point where I can't even spell certain words because I've been using autocorrect for so long. Like, it's a shame, to be honest. And I guess we have to be careful of look, comfort and convenience is a massive hindrance to us, but there's also, it's probably one of the most expensive things on this earth is comfort and convenience. Why? Because you can't actually put a price on it. It means so many different things to so many people. and people will pay different amounts to a similar thing. So if I say, what's comfort and convenience to you for this particular issue in your life, the cost of it varies from person to person. So comfort and convenience is one of the most expensive things that you can come across.
I never thought of it like that. It's kind of in the same regard as success, is where you can't really pinpoint it because everyone's version is going to be different. Yeah, I never really thought of it like that. I had this epiphany. You were saying about the comparison thing, where I think for myself, the reason I was where I was for so long is because I didn't have that comparison of what life could be. Would you say that was the same for you? Because you grew up in that environment, you grew up with the street life, drugs, gangsters, all that, but you didn't see the other side, or you didn't see an alternative. So it was kind of that alone kept you in for so long.
Yeah, of course. It's like someone growing up in poverty in Africa, for example. Let's say they haven't seen social media or the TV or anything, and they don't have that comparison. So, you get those kids like, for example, Francis Ngannou, who's a UFC and boxing superstar. He grew up in the sand mines in Africa, but he saw a vision and saw something that allowed him to have that dream of aspiring for greatness and for the betterment of his own life. But when you don't have that vision and you don't have an example to go by, or you don't have dreams, or that's one thing as well that's very important for us, is as kids, our imagination runs wild. But as we grow up and life hits us, we lose that imagination. And that's something that's so beautiful and something that we should never allow life or situations to take from us, is that imagination. That's what gives us the opportunity to flourish, to act, to live. And that's the beauty of life. But I guess, look, coming back to it, yes, being stuck in, that kind of lifestyle for so long, is that I couldn't see the other side. But now looking back, and it taken me 7 to 8 years to climb from the years of neglect and years of just self-sabotage. It's absolutely amazing. And that's why, more than anything, like I do very well. Professionally, I do very well. So I really don't have to go on this journey. And, going into content creation, I've introduced so much friction to my life and it's got so much busier. But the thing is, I don't look at it like work. I found my purpose. I found what I love doing. So it's almost like, look, I just want, to be honest, I swear to you, I just want to share, because the feeling of then and now, people need to feel this.
So how did you start getting out of that situation, which led you to content creation? Because it wasn't just saying 180 and then your life's completely changed. Like you said, it took you 7 to 8 years.
And I guess not having the guidance is why it took me so long, because when you're trying to travel without Google Maps, look, I talk about this all the time in my latest video as well, how I got ahead of 99% of people. I talk about this, and basically, when you're trying to travel, no one uses a compass nowadays, but trying to travel without a compass or Google Maps or Waze or whatever, you don't have the roadmap. You don't have a sense of direction. So that's why it ended up taking me so long. And that's where mentorship comes into it, but we'll talk about that later. And yeah, to be honest, look, starting out, it got to a point where I couldn't look at myself in the mirror. I was stuck in depression, like really, really bad depression, where it got to a point where I was glued to my couch, like literally, when you're trying to you know when it's hot and you're sweating and you're stuck to your couch and you kind of peel yourself off it, almost like that fake leather. It got to a point where I was just stuck eating Haribos, eating takeaways, being in debt, looking at myself, being 140 kilograms, which is, what was it, 24 stone or something like that. I was massive and I was depressed. I couldn't even walk up to the shops without, being out of breath. And I was just in a bad place where, everything goes through your mind. It's like, why would someone want to be with me in this state? So and being stuck in minimum wage is like, look, I've got no qualifications. I'm stuck gaming. I've got no family whatsoever. I haven't got a girlfriend. What do I expect? But being in the driver's seat, all you could do is feel sorry for yourself. So I guess that's where the journey started, was just looking at myself in the mirror and thinking, something needs to change. And, meeting my current wife, my girlfriend, to be honest, I don't know how I managed to convince her to go out with me. And I guess her being with me allowed me to work on myself, because I always thought, like, look, this person deserves better than me. And her being with me and sticking with me just made me want to be a better person for her, realizing that she deserved better, but not only that, I deserved better. But it was me self-sabotaging, and the self-harm that was going on in my mind at the time was so poisonous that I just started with two things, and I needed to change. First of all, I needed to lose weight. So whatever I had to do was lose weight first, and then secondly, I needed to earn more money. How I'd go about doing that, it took a lot of effort and it took a lot of work. But they were the first two things, and I guess this is advice to anyone. When you want to start doing something, or you want to start changing your life, you have to be completely focused on what you're trying to do. And there's no sense looking at in 6 years' time, in 5 years' time, in 2-3 years. You can't imagine what life is going to throw at you and what circumstances will happen and what the circumstances will put you through. But the most important thing is understanding what you need to do. So simplifying it and breaking it down. And initially, it was two things: losing weight and getting more money.
So how did you start losing weight and getting more money?
Okay, so losing weight, I tried exercising, and I found out very, very quickly that it's going to be difficult. Being that size and that unfit, it's going to take time, no matter what. No matter what you do, it's going to take time. But also, you need to be realistic with yourself, because at the time I had a weak mindset. So I didn't go through building that tough mindset. And even though I'd been in the streets and a lot of things happened to me, but in that sense, I had a weak mindset. So throwing up a few times after my sessions, I realized that, look, I have to be honest with myself. I'm not gonna put up with this. I can't see it carrying on for a few months. So what I did was, I was working at the time, and I'd get off a few stops before my workplace and I'd walk. So walking 4 kilometers, 2.2 miles, and walking back every day started my journey. And it would eventually get into walking back from work all the way home, which was 10 miles, 16 kilometers, 2.2, about 3 hours. But that was the start of it. It was just walking. And walking, obviously, look, you're not going to outwork a bad diet, but I kind of started saying, all right, if I cut out the sugar and I cut out a lot of the bad carbs, which I didn't have too much knowledge in at the time, the whole food aspect and the whole healthy lifestyle aspect of things, I didn't understand too much about it, but it's obviously self-explanatory. Look, too much sugar is not good for you. So if I cut out the sugar, cut out a lot of the bad stuff, then add the walking to it, then it will start to snowball from there. And to be honest, I started seeing a lot of results, because initially what you do is you drop a lot of water weight, and that massive drop in the water weight, it took me by surprise. Then I just carried on from there.
And the money side of things, as you said, you had two.
Yes. So the money side of things, like I discussed in my latest video, it was going to be a lot more difficult, because growing up without the guidance, growing up without family, growing up and, bouncing from country to country when I was at a real young age, I didn't have a normal childhood. I didn't stick to school. I was bouncing from school to school. And even when I got back to the UK, I was bouncing from area to area, school to school. So I really, honestly, I didn't have the standard basic life skills that would allow me to flourish, or allow me to understand what it was to actually develop. So trying to earn more money was going to prove to be so difficult, because dropping out of school and dropping out of college and just having the basic skills, I didn't have a clue or an idea of where to start or how to go about doing things. And naturally, you kind of look to someone, and look, with social media nowadays, you look to these quick rich schemes and these get rich quick schemes and all these tactics and BS that's around social media nowadays. And a lot of it didn't work. So what I decided was, look, I've got to go back to college. And going back to college was really difficult, because I had to sit a basic maths and English test just to get in. And then finding out what I needed to do was, I didn't have any idea of where I wanted to go or what I wanted to be or what field I'd like to get into. So I just ended up sitting with the first row that I could see going to this open day. And I ended up sitting with the plumbers, and from there, I got into plumbing, and that was basically the start of it. So getting into plumbing, and then eventually getting into gas, and then eventually getting into electrical, and, climbing through, getting into different jobs, then eventually climbing into data centers but the initial step was the bravery and the stepping outside of my comfort zone and getting into college was the start of it.
Why did you have that sort of nonchalant, non-focused approach to picking the career that you to do at college? Because it seems a bit misguided to just go in and walk into the first class, because for all you know, you could have walked into an art class, and I don't think that would have been, speaking from some experience, as I did art for a year, it's not the best idea.
No, it's not. And I guess that came down to the mindset and the situation that I was in at the time. It was terrible, honestly. The person that I was back then, looking back, I can't believe it. Honestly, it's mind-blowing on the mindset and the situation that I was in at the time. Going in blindly to a college to sit a basic maths and English test that I just scraped, like I just about got in, and I was thankful for getting in. And then going into the open day and just sitting in the first row of it's mind-blowing. It's absolute stupidity, because like you said, it could have been an art class for all I know. And I guess the universe works in mysterious ways, or the guidance that I had from up above, or I don't know what it was, but it was stupidness on my part and the nonchalantness and just the blasé attitude of, you know what, when you're young, the arrogance and the mindset and thoughts that I had, particularly I had at the time, was unbelievable. And I guess that part of it comes with youth. It comes with experience. And you know what, looking back then, people that did try to offer me advice, or, you know, just being so young and being so naive, I can only speak for myself. I was so stupid at the time that it's mind-blowing. Honestly, I really don't know how I navigated to, and even maturing so late in my life. To be honest, just looking back 7 to 8 years, obviously, as we go year by year, we look back and we think, oh my God, like certain things are cringe and certain things you can't believe certain things. But the amount of growth and development that happened during the last 8 years, and just looking back before that, I really don't know how I was operating. It's unbelievable.
So you went with plumbing. How come you transitioned into gas and electric? Why didn't you just stick with just one and try and master that? Because I assume you know the saying, jack of all trades, master of none?
Yes, but I believe the correct quote on that is jack of all trades, master of none, but always better than a master of one. So I believe that's the whole quote. But anyway, getting into plumbing and working my way up from plumbing level 1, level 2, level 3, and then NVQ, I got into working with the hospital and going from minimum wage to the hospital offering me a full-time contract and then getting the overtime. I climbed up to very quickly to about 50K per year. And going from minimum wage to stuck in debt to that much, and seeing the results of my dedication and my progression. When you start seeing the results, and look, I came from a background of being addicted to gaming, so I looked at everything in a gaming sense, and now it's about leveling up. And that's why I even created a PDF called the Level Up, and basically it's turning your life. Hey, there we go. So the Level Up PDF and turning your life into a game worked tremendously for me. So giving myself stats and giving myself levels to actually climb, that's what was in my head. So leveling up and increasing my stats, honestly, I would look at life as a game. So basically getting up to 50K and then getting, you know, my plumbing. During that time, I caught the learning bug and I was like, what's next? I finished my plumbing now and I've got my certificates. And now I can see the interest from the agents. I'm getting calls week after week from different agencies trying to offer me this job and that job. And now I'm thinking, all right, how do I level up? I don't want to stop learning now because I've stopped gaming. I've stopped a lot of the bad stuff in my life, and I've got into the gym and the healthy lifestyle and all that kind of stuff. So now it's about the constant evolution and the leveling up process. So the plumbing came to an end and I was thinking, all right, what's next? The private college that I was going to at the time were advertising a gas course. So I started, you know, researching gas and just looking into people that do work with gas and so on. And within the industry at that time, there was a lot of need for gas engineers. So combining gas with plumbing is kind of the natural step of progression. And I went into it and I never looked back. So I completed the gas course, and the gas course is very expensive and very, very difficult to do. The final exams, the pass rate on it is ridiculously low. And getting into gas and finishing gas added more fuel to that fire, because the burning desire I had now was unbelievable. And then going on from gas to receiving the offer to get into a data center. Then I got into data centers, and being in a data center, you kind of need to be well-rounded. So the electrical side came into it then, and I was like, okay, so now I've got plumbing, I've got gas. I need to understand more about the electrical side, because now I'm starting to build up experience and understanding within plumbing and gas. Now I want to understand the electrical side of things. So I got into data centers, and I sacrificed so much to do the electrical part of things. Money, sleep, effort. I was going 2 days a week without sleep, because I'd have to go from working a night shift straight into college, or finishing college and straight into a day shift or a night shift. And to be honest, like I say, look, it was short-term pain for long-term gain. And I'm so glad, look, like I said, when you're in the driver's seat and you're in the then and there and then, you can't see 6 months, a year, 2 years down the line. But looking back now, I'm so glad I put myself through that, because I'm reaping the rewards now.
Would you say it was the best decision of your life?
100%. 100%. Look, nowadays we're in the age of investing in this, investing in that, and the get rich quick schemes, and everyone's selling courses online and this. Look, you are your greatest asset. And the thing is, when you invest in yourself versus investing in these other things, you're looking at 7, 8%, 15%, 20%, 50%, 60, even 100%. But when you invest in yourself and you're wise in how you invest in yourself, and you have some guidance and you follow a path rather than chopping and changing, the results and the payoff is tenfold. It's 100x, 100%, 2000%, 5000%. When you invest in yourself, it's limitless. And that's the beauty of it, because no one can take self-development away from you. And when you invest in yourself and the knowledge and the skills gained and the experience gained, no one can take that away from you. And that's so, so empowering. And that's part of my journey. Look, we all eventually want to make whatever we do into a full-time business, or create something that we could leave our jobs to go into full-time. But I promise you, my main objective is to share this with people, because to understand that you are your greatest asset, and no one can take the investment in yourself. No one can take that away from you. And the results are so far ahead of anything you can invest in. It has to be shared with people. And that's my main objective, is to share this with people and for them to understand that this is the way forward.
One thing I noticed as you're saying, you're going from essentially the trades within the data center, gas, electric, plumbing, to content creation. Now, I know in your last video you said the reason you're doing this is because when it comes at the level you're at, to go and get a promotion will basically tie you to your company for life. But why are you choosing to make that change into content creation? Is there more to it, or is it purely I don't want to be stuck in data centers my entire life?
No, no, no. To be honest, look, I'm in a position where I'm earning great money. I'm earning a lot more than people that go to uni and executives and so on. I'm earning great money, and with a lot of the private jobs I do and so on, I'm earning great money. So I'm in, and look, I don't live an extravagant lifestyle. So all I do is work, gym, save. That literally. So, and look, I don't hate what I do at all. I love what I do, and the amount of time, effort, and knowledge gained during this period has allowed me to be, well, it's allowed me to have a lot of freedom. And also, I love doing it. I enjoy data centers. I enjoy engineering a lot. I enjoy fixing things. But discovering content creation is something I dabbled with at the beginning, but I later fell in love with when I applied myself, and I spent a lot of money on everything to do with content creation. I fell in love with it so much that throughout my life, I went through a long period of having this dull sense of worry, this emptiness, this almost like, sorry?
Void?
Yes, almost like a void in terms of where do we go from here? Like, you know, like, I can't really explain it. It was just a void in me and a dull sense of emptiness. And when I discovered content creation, and you know, like, you know, we go through our lives and we talk about it, like we think about it a lot, and it's discussed online a lot. What's your purpose? What's your reason for being here? What gives you, what did God create? What did God give you that you're good at, or that you excel in? And I found that with content creation. When I started creating content, you look at, for example, and this is something I do want to share as well, my journey from my first video on my phone to a few months later and releasing my first piece of content on YouTube. The quality of that compared to my first video on my phone is day and night, and it's unbelievable. And not a lot of people release content on YouTube, well, their first piece of content at that level, with such high quality. So my love for content creation and the ability and wanting to share my message and my journey is what's given me the ammunition and wanting to just push forward with this. So it's not where I'm stuck in what I'm doing and I want to escape what I'm doing to get into content creation. No, it's far from it. I love what I do, but I've just found my purpose. And I guess that's what gives me an edge and gives me, well, makes me a bit different to a lot of content creators or a lot of people out there, where there's a sense of desperation, and I made a video about this as well. There's a sense of desperation for wanting to succeed at this and wanting to monetize it and make money from it straight away. I'm not in a position where I'm pressed for money. I'm not in a position where I'm desperate. So yeah, it's so liberating when you can actually find your purpose, but also be in a position where you're not desperate from the other part of your life. I'm not looking to leave that and desperate to get out of a rut. So yeah, I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, so would you say even if it doesn't work out, you're not really going to be disappointed? It's like at least you gave it a go, and if you have to leave it with your metaphorical tail in between your legs, it's like, well, I gave it a go, and yeah.
Well, look, to be honest, I don't look at it like that, and it's not a thing where it's almost like a boxer where you don't think of the negatives, you don't think of losing, because if you do think of losing, it's a negative state of mindset. And not, it's not even like that. It's just where I'm going to continue doing it no matter what. Whether it working or not working depends on me and how much time and effort and how much I'm looking to level up, and all that depends on me. And it's not a thing where I think it's not an if, it's a when kind of thing, you know? And the thing is, I guess, like you say, look, I'm not, it's not like I'm in a position where I hate what I do. I'm in something that I love doing, and something that took me so long to kind of get in a position where I've got a lot of freedom, I've got a lot of knowledge, I've got a lot of experience. So yeah, I guess I don't even look at it like that, but I'm not in a position where I'm desperate, and I'm here for the long haul. I'm here for a good time, and I'm here to share. And as long as I continue learning, developing and growing and creating on a daily basis, then the only way is up.
Why did you come up with the name Uncommony and not use your actual name? Because I've used my actual name for my YouTube, well, for this podcast, well, minus the title, but for the YouTube side of things. And that's quite a common thing, well, theme among most creators these days, to use their name. Maybe some people will use their shortened version, so I could have used like Dan Graves, that would have still worked. But why did you decide not to?
I guess, look, you're right. Yeah, within my niche, especially, and within this content that I create, there's a lot. Most people use their names because of the connection with the audience and the familiarity they get from the audience. So I guess there are pros and cons to using a name and to using a brand as such. But my thoughts and my mindset was, it can't be about me. My message and my journey and the overall feel and message that I'm trying to deliver has to be bigger than me. It's not about me. And that's the most important thing. What I want to get across is, it's not about me. It's much bigger than me. The whole focus of the channel and the positivity and the self-development and learning and growing and developing, it's much bigger than me. So it can't be about me. Yes, I'm the voice and the face behind it, but it's not about me. That what I'm trying to deliver is the message. And why Uncommony is because it's uncommon nowadays to push yourself, to live well, to if you're not, like, you know, especially in my industry, in the engineering industry, if you're not having an English breakfast and you're not ordering things from the cafe and you're not this and you know, it's uncommon. They look at you like, what's wrong with you? Why are you, you know, why are you not having a Sunday roast with us? Why are you not having an English breakfast? And if you're pushing yourself in terms of fitness nowadays, like, it's so uncommon to find. And even with the rise of, you know, the gym bros and all that kind of thing now, it's so uncommon to find someone that's in just having a great lifestyle in terms of a clean lifestyle and looking for self-development and betterment all the time. So if you look at it across the globe, it's a minor percentage of humanity, really. So that's the whole uncommon thing behind it. Is just, it's so uncommon to be exceptional nowadays, or to strive for perfection. No one is perfect, but I guess the whole message behind this is about positivity, growth, development, and just being a better person overall. Is also from my mindset, coming from the streets and the negative thoughts and the negative mindset and the whole glorified gangster lifestyle, to completely switching to a positive, progressive mindset and treating people correctly also, but living trying to live a pure life and trying to be a better person on a daily basis. That's the whole uncommon part of it.
There were two things that came to mind when you said about it's uncommon for people to push themselves. Do you know what the statistic is? I forget exactly what it is, of people in the UK who have gym memberships. This doesn't include those who use them, by the way.
Yeah, I came across it the other day. It was something very low, like a 6% or
10.
Something like that. Something like that. It's ridiculous. It's like the amount of people that have a gym membership, but versus the amount of people that actually use their gym membership. Like, I've got a colleague of mine. I think it's David Lloyd. He pays over £200 a month and he hasn't been for 2 years. I'm like, why are you paying £200 a month for a gym membership you don't use? Like, I'm with the gym group, so it's only like 20 odd quid a month. But yeah, it's unbelievable.
Yeah, and
it's scary.
Yeah, I was shocked. I heard it from Alex Hormozy, and he's got a quote which says, "Everyone loves the underdog, and they love rooting for the underdog because it reminds them of chasing it when they were chasing their dreams. But people actually hate it when you surpass them and succeed them because you remind them of the dreams you gave up, but that they gave up." It's like almost like you're a living mirror of what they gave up.
Yeah, and I guess that's a flaw. That's why we build people up to a certain point, and then once they get to a certain point, it's almost like no, we got to bring them down again. And it happens across society, whether it's normal people or whether it's people in the public eye, in terms of, in Hollywood or whatever it may be. We always find people on top that have a drastic descent. And you look at, for example, the latest one, maybe The Rock. Look at The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, going from wrestling a baby face to superstardom, to this, to that, to now getting into politics, and now the whole world is against him. And I get, look, there's been whole documentaries on him and the antics and the lies or whatever, but we love to build people up, and once they're up, we can't leave them be. We have to bring them back down. And I guess that's a flaw of society. It's a shame.
I think it's also a waste of energy and resources. As I get the temptation, I get all that, but if you were to say to me, and I think you can relate to this as well, if someone wants to come to us, you've got an hour, you can either build something, you can tear someone down. I'll take the building, thanks, because someone else will do the tearing down for me, and I'll be much further ahead than the person who wants to tear others down.
And that's an uncommon mindset, It's scary as well, because what people would rather spend their time on rather than themselves. And that's a powerful mindset as well, is when you can actually, you'd rather spend time on building yourself, your knowledge and your experience, and just to see you push ahead, rather than spending it online or on social media or Netflix and chill, or just on other things that don't concern you. I've even tweeted about this, where I used to be an expert at everything other than myself. I used to be an expert in MMA, in Manchester United, in EastEnders, in fast food, in gaming, like Destiny. At a stage, I used to play Destiny to a point where I remember Destiny releasing and it was just a shell of a game. There wasn't much storyline to it and there weren't many levels and at the time there wasn't even a raid. I spent so much time in the lore and the backstory and everything to do with Destiny that I look at it now and I'm like, why are we such experts in everything else other than ourselves? We are, at the end of the day, everyone's favorite subject is themselves. Everyone's favorite person is probably themselves. Even though we are our worst critics, we are mostly our worst nightmares. But generally, you are your best friend. You see yourself, even if you've got a partner, you don't know anyone like you know yourself. So why would you spend time on everyone else's business rather than yours? Why not elevate and focus on mastering yourself and getting yourself to a point where you become so valuable that you can command and control anything in your desire?
I know exactly what you mean with the Destiny thing. That was yeah, that was not a good idea. To the point where I've taken some scissors and hammered to that thing, and it's in the bin now. But that's full disclaimer to the audience. I am not perfect with any of this. I mean, I will slip back from time to time, but I think it's kind of. I also find it kind of a shame because if you're looking for someone who wants to grow with you, that pool is very small. You know what I mean? It's like you want to find someone who's on the same path or journey as you. That's a much smaller path than the person who's just screwing around all the weekend.
Yeah. And I guess that's what's so uncommon about it as well. It's that when you start to, and I hear this a lot, when you start to go on this journey, it's a very lonely journey because your friends are like, oh, why are you not coming out anymore? Or where have you been? Or, people, you can't relate to people anymore. And I guess that's the sad part about it. But also, look, and one thing about being a content creator as well is like, I never get to show you're always trying to put your best foot forward. That you might come across as someone that's always trying to be perfect. Look, I'm far from it. I have relapses like everyone. I grew up with this mean streak, so I kind of have to temper that all the time. And it's almost the chimp in me that kind of jumps out every now and then. And I'm like, whoa, hold on. They're driving, they've cut you off, and maybe it's an older person, or maybe someone trying to get to a hospital, or maybe they didn't even think about you, but you've taken it personally. So it's like, I always have to control myself. And look, it comes back to the journey of trying to improve yourself on a daily basis and trying to go on this journey. It's a lonely journey because not a lot of people are on it, but we also have to be lenient with ourselves in terms of, look, we're only human at the end of the day, and we're trying to put our best foot forward. And let's not beat ourselves up about falling and relapsing and these things happening to us. But it is a lonely journey. I completely understand where you're coming from.
What have some of the challenges been with setting up a YouTube channel and starting to actually take content creation seriously?
I guess going from just being in it for over 8 months now, in terms of I had a period from November last year to April of just getting ready and setting it up and just trying to improve. And then in April, I released officially. So from April to now, it's just over 3 months. So I guess the hardest thing about it is being and this is going back to my self-improvement and trying to improve and lose weight and earn more money, is that now I'm almost starting again where I haven't got that roadmap. I'm traveling without a Google map or a compass, if you will, and just learning, developing with it every day. And I guess the most important, the hardest challenge is just not knowing the correct path, because while there might be videos on YouTube and you know, guidance and, you know, just videos of everyone giving their opinion and their challenges, I guess your own journey is a lot different to everyone. And while there are blueprints, there's never an exact blueprint on how you should do it, because your own journey and your own message it's all in your head. It's all in your own creation. So while there might be, you know, things that are best practices, it's a maze, and it's really difficult to be in, because when you're trying to get your name out there, and look, Gandhi said this he put this perfectly. He said, first they ignore you, then they laugh at you, then they fight you, and then you win. So the whole beginning of it, of the uncertainty with it, is that first of all, no one knows you. Second of all, no one really cares. Thirdly, it's like you're almost speaking into the void, and all you can do is try to put your best foot forward and try to improve yourself on a daily basis. And you look at, for example, someone like Mr. Beast, he said it. Your first 100 videos, no one's gonna watch it. And then after that, once we get to 100 videos, and during that process, you've tried to improve every video bit by bit, then we could come and talk, and maybe you can get a few views, maybe you can get a bit of recognition. So, like I said, I've gone from that journey to this journey, and it's almost like a reset. And I've introduced so much friction to my life, but I don't look at it like friction, because I've discovered my purpose. And to be honest, I'm loving doing this. And I've just learned the whole ocean of skills that I have to learn. It's mind-blowing.
It never ends, does it?
Tell me about it.
I kind of wanted to ask you this, but I'm going to tweak it a little so I don't mention people's names. What's your opinion with, well, you kind of alluded to some of it, but what's your opinion with these self-help gurus, or these people who claim to be in support of like a particular group, but their actions kind of contradict what they do, or as time goes on, people kind of pick up what they're actually like? This is really hard to do without mentioning names, but one thing I've done is I've kind of made this as broad as possible. Yes, there's some detriment to it, but I don't want to give advice that people then come to me and say, well, you told me to do this and you're doing something else, when in reality, the thing I've learned is people giving advice on what worked for them, not necessarily that's going to translate to everyone else. My last guest, we were kind of talking about this with fad diets, like intermittent fasting, keto. Like for some people, to use that as an example, intermittent fasting works for some, doesn't work for others. It didn't work for me. Some keto works for some people, doesn't work for others. But then I kind of find that gets kind of blown up with information that's online. What's your take on it?
Yeah, it's a really tough one, to be honest, because at the end of the day, most of these people out there are just trying to build something, or they're trying to sell something. And look, it almost goes back to don't hate the player, hate the game kind of thing. But at the same time, it's like, what you have to understand is that people's morals and people's level of honesty, and look, I don't like to point anyone or anything out, because at the end of the day, I'm focused on me and mine, and developing my own community, and helping and allowing people, not allowing people to flourish, but giving the people the tools to flourish. So it's a really tough one, because at the end of the day, it's different strokes for different folks, horses for courses. And when it comes to certain things, everyone's opinions and everyone's experiences are that. They're their own experiences and their own thoughts. And it also comes down to people's opinions. At the end of the day, people's opinions are only formed by their knowledge, their experience, and how they package it and put it across to you. So what we have to understand at the end of the day, no matter how much of an expert that person is in that particular subject, he doesn't know it 100%. I believe there's, I think it's Sadhguru who said this, a blade of grass, we haven't even broken it down 100%. So something as simple as a blade of grass that we haven't broken down 100%. There's so much in this universe, so much in this world that's unexplained, that no particular person, no matter how much they know on a particular subject, makes them 100% an expert. Because at the end of the day, nowadays with the access we have and all the knowledge we have on our phones, someone could have 50, 60% knowledge in a particular area or a particular field and say, oh, we consider them an expert. Where really you can't put there's no gauge for the level of expertise or level of knowledge within that particular field in terms of like a scale. Are they credible? Are they not? So people are taking people's opinions and saying, oh, no, that makes sense. Oh, you know, that works. And we're lost. We are, honestly, we are so lost with a lot of the information and misinformation that's online. But also it comes down to people's opinions. Look, someone could sound so convincing at delivering something that they've convinced you that their opinion and what they're saying is correct. So we almost have to take a step back, and it's almost like the whole being an expert in everything else. And when you concentrate on yourself so much, and you're concentrating on your level of knowledge and your level of improvement, then you build a level of assurance and a level of assertiveness to you and your thoughts. But we're all human at the end of the day, so we're all swayed by what's around us. And I guess we have to come back to that and just focus on ourselves and not pay so much attention to the level of information that's out there.
Would you say that you're making your content in a way to not fight against it, but as kind of an antidote to it in a way. So it's not your way is the only way, because I cannot stand anything like that. But it's just like an alternative look at how you could accomplish things.
I guess so. If you, for example, if you look at my latest video, which is how I got ahead of 99% of people, there isn't a flashiness, there isn't a get rich quick scheme, there isn't a you're going to be a millionaire. And while you can package it up that way, it's about honesty at the end of the day. And look, I guess there's a way to come across and a way to sell things, but to me, honestly, the level of honesty and the level, I'm not trying to fight against anything or anyone. I'm just trying to show people that they are their greatest asset. And we have so many things around us nowadays that are serving as a distraction to our greatness, our own climb, if you will, our own advancement, that we've lost the way of just the humanity, just being a good person, being a great person, being positive, being powerful. It's almost like, like what's good nowadays isn't fashionable. But when you mix, and especially coming from my background, but when you mix everything together, when you mix the positivity, when you mix the working on yourself every day in terms of mentally, emotionally, and then you work on yourself physically, and you get really powerful, fit, and healthy and strong. And this is so liberating and so empowering. People just need to focus on themselves rather than everything around them. And yeah, going back to it, look, my message is not an alternative. It's not a fight against anything or anyone. It's a realization.
Would you say that would be the way that people could start working on themselves and improving their life? Just focus on them rather than others?
Yeah, I guess that's an important part of it, but it's so difficult at the same time. It's like, I've experienced it many times in my life, and going back to the beginning of my journey with the weight loss, how it started with just the weight loss and earning more money, and now into content creation. At the beginning of the journey, you can't see life down the line, 6 months, a year, 2, 3, 5 years. It's so hard. And also, being human beings, we're lost in this world, and without the guidance. And for people that do have a great family to guide them, or people that have their heads screwed on, that's wonderful, because guidance is a very, very, very important part of a journey. But also it comes down to bravery and a willingness and intent. So you have to be brave to start the journey. You have to be willing to start the journey, and you have to have intentionality. Is so key in what you're trying to do.
They always say the hardest bit is actually starting it. Once you start, it's so easy to keep going.
Yeah, it's like going to the gym. The hardest part of going to the gym is actually getting to the gym, right? No one comes out of the gym feeling bad or feeling, oh, I shouldn't have done this today, unless they go absolutely mental. But no, generally
themselves.
Generally, people come out of the gym feeling great, feeling wonderful, and it's a wonderful feeling. The hardest part is making a start.
So now you've started your channel, what are your future plans for it?
It's getting my message across and learning, developing, and growing on a daily basis, and understanding the landscape, and understanding the tools I have bettering my skills, bettering my delivery, bettering my knowledge, and just sharing. Really, I just want to share my journey, and that's what the main thing is. It's just sharing. As you know, they say sharing is caring, and all I want to do is share, because if I'm continuing to learn, develop, grow, and create on a daily basis, and people can join me in that journey, then let's do it.
I highly recommend people do. Uncommony, everyone. Where can people find you? Because we talked about your YouTube channel, but I know you've got other social media. So if they want to follow you on those, where should they find you?
Yeah, so it's at Uncommony on YouTube and at the Uncommony across X, TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook.
Why is it a different name across 4 channels and not your main channel?
So the other channels I couldn't actually get at Uncommony on the other channels. I guess someone's taken it. So I had to add a the before Uncommony. So at the Uncommony across all of the other platforms, and at Uncommony on YouTube.
Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed that episode, then I've got the entire playlist here. I've also got clips here. Subscribe for more, and I'll see you next time.